Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now this is a general reading for those born in the year of the monkey. So not the Western Tarot, but you can find those on my channel. Western Tarot, Western Signs, Western Zodiac, but you can find them on my channel. Now all the details of the reading are in the description down below, but basically it's a general reading rules apply. Timing's not absolute. If somebody else appears in the reading, then roles can get reversed. I can think I'm talking about one person and actually be talking about the other person because the cards don't come with name tags. But this looks like a fairly personal reading, to be quite honest. And down in the description below also is the link to my Facebook page for this channel. Now that's got its own inbox, so if you want to contact me directly for a personal reading, there's one of the ways to do it. I think my Twitter is down in the description as well. I can't think of any more housekeeping things to say, so with no further ado, normally it takes me like about 4 minutes to get through all the housekeeping, and today I just can't even remember what I would normally say. But moving on, let's bring the cards up for you. So you may notice there are some more negative cards here. So the first thing I want to bring your attention to, because I think this is going to be quite a tough reading. So the first thing I want to bring your attention to is this oracle card, Soaring into Joy. Childlike wonder fills my life. So there's a happy ending here. Now the shape of this reading is very similar to Goat that I've just done, but yours is harder work. They're simply waiting now that they've arrived in a new place. You're processing before you arrive in the new place. You are processing before all the happy, happy, joy, joy stuff comes in. We're starting with the Eight of Swords, anxiety, stress, self-imposed limitations to a certain extent. And although I can frequently find positive meanings for the Eight of Swords, yeah, not so much this time. Because it's clarified immediately by the Tower. And that goes to show that either your anxiety has created loss or loss is creating your anxiety. I am really tempted to say 6 and 1 and half a dozen of the other, because you're in looking here, you're in a situation where you're waiting for the hammer to fall. This is what the 8 to the 9 of Swords is. I think it, if I remember what it says in the book, it's something like waiting for a dismal fate, or, you know, something equally cheerful like that. The calm before the storm. Yes, so, not so much waiting for a dismal fate, but while you are in that calm, there is a new way being shown to you if you pay attention. Spirit is coming in, typified here not just by the hand of God holding that cup, but by the Pegasus flying towards. And it's almost like you have two choices. There's guidance to do two things, and that is your choice. That is your freedom of will. Well, 3 things really. You can sit there being all miserable and stressed out, and miserable and bored and anxious and stressed out. I'm really selling this one, aren't I? Or you can take one of the 2 options that Spirit is offering to you. Now, yeah, trying to figure out what this means, because the hand of God offering you that cup is a different thing from the Pegasus flying towards you. And the Pegasus is representative of the intervention of the gods in your affairs, so to speak. But your intuition is almost telling you that you have to focus somewhat on what is lost. And this is why I'm saying processing, because you can't just to me, the most ideal path is jump on the back of that Pegasus, fly away and have some massive adventures. But we have, from the Quantum Oracle, the Loss card. We have 5 of Cups here, loss. 3 of Swords, heartbreak. 9 of Swords, nightmares. You know, worry, just everything going horribly wrong, or feeling more like everything's going horribly wrong. Let's be specific here. It is not that things are going horribly wrong. It just feels that way. That you feel that you are without shelter and that there is a lack of guidance, support. But it does look like you are having a dark night of the soul, which, despite the severity of all these cards, I think might be over-egging the pudding somewhat. So if you find yourself calling this a dark night of the soul, I want to say, no, it isn't. We have 2 moons in the middle of the deck. We have the moon card at the middle of the deck, middle of the spread. And we have the moon to the sun. So lots of illusion, lots of balancing, lots of equalizing what is real and what is unreal. But I want to say that here, despite what I've just done, flying in the, criticizing your anxiety, the unreal is just as important and just as relevant as the real, but it needs to be recognized for what it is. It needs to be tamed. Let's see what the sun to the moon is, because I would see that as coming to clarity, coming to revelation, things coming clear for you. Moon to the sun, achieving clarity. Yeah. So hey ho. This loss has to be dealt with, but it has to be shown that there is a balance that will come into being. That's what this High Priestess and the 2 moon cards here are telling me about, that there is a balance and certain things you have to cut out to get to a new place. Now, bear in mind what I was saying about Goat. Goat has already got to the new place and they're going, now what? You are trying to get to the new place, but you've got to be strategic about this. You've got to say, right, that is not serving me anymore. That is not serving me anymore. This loss, yeah, grieve, mourn, and then get it over and done with. Because, and the risk of being tactless, if it's a thing, it doesn't matter because it's a thing. And if it's a person, because we are in very strange times at the moment, but if it's a person, they would not want you to be stuck in that pit of grief. They would want you to move on and take one step at a time. And this is what that 6 to the 7, the strategy to get to a new place, which is the 7 to the 6. But the 6 to the 7 is telling me one step at a time, because there is a whole new amount of creation energy. And here's where the hope is, which leads straight into this soaring into joy card. There is a whole new creation energy coming in. There's, you notice that the hand of God here is giving or is touching that woman's wand, but you, being that woman, you are the one setting that aflame. You are the one saying, oh, now I've got to phrase this so carefully. But it's almost like God, for want of a better word, you know, the divine, the universe, however you, but I'll use God in this particular circumstances, since it's a hand of God or hand of a God anyway, is saying, right, I can do this now. Would you like me to do this now? I don't have to do this now. but you can make the choice that I do this now. Or I could save it till later and you totally miss out and I'll do it in another few thousand years. But I could do it now if you like. What's your choice? And so there is something there where you get to grab hold of it and literally ignite a process into existence. Oh, camera went funny there. Well, software. And you get to ignite a process into existence with some planning. Now, you're only able to do that planning if you have strategically cut out those things that you do not need in this new place. But just to emphasize, as I say, we've got, I'll get to that in a second, but we've got the loss card. We've got the 5 of Cups here. So there's very much about working through your emotions, working through those things that you have to let go of. And I want to say with this row, what these nightmares are hinting to me, it's almost like you have the potential. I'm going to call this the lower nature of this spread for this one reading. You have the potential of feeling incomplete due to the things that are being torn away from you, that are either being torn away from you because of your anxiety or have created the anxiety because they've been torn away. But you can stay in that anxiety if you want. You can progress it from the 8 to the 9. You can really, really put some welly into all that anxiety if you want. Or you could ignite the torch that God is handing to you and move forward. So there's a lot of emotional work here. On the bottoms of the deck, we have Knight of Pentacles. So slow process. 5 of Swords, challenge, conflict. But also it's a picking up the pieces after the conflict, after the loss. And that's the energy that I'm seeing here. We have the 3 to the 4 of Wands on the bottom of the In-Between Tarot deck, which is all about setting future plans. And Page of Pentacles reversed on the bottom of the double Rider-Waite deck I've got. Now, the Page of Pentacles is my level up card. And with it being reversed, oh goody, you have a chance to not level up if you so choose. But I don't think you should. I think you should take the risk. I think you should do that emotional work and then leap upon the back of that Pegasus and fly off to adventure. We have Mountain, which basically shows that it's a hell of a lot of work coming in for you. Cleaning House. Again, going through all that emotional stuff. And then finally, Talisman, which is showing the, okay, I'm going to take the power that I have. Now, I've no idea if this is what it says in the book, but this is what I'm getting from it. I'm going to take the power that I have, and I'm going to set foot on this new path. 6 of Swords here, the path that winds around into the, well, no, it goes that way, sorry. That winds around into the distance. But she is carrying that power very gently, very carefully, and has a dragon sat on her arm. You are supported here. But she's carrying the dragon because it's sat on her arm. So you have to carry your support, or basically you have to do your fair share. This work is called of you. So you have a choice. Stagnate in anxiety and nightmares, or go, okay, I can get through this. And when I see this opportunity that comes, I'm going to ignite it. I'm going to, well, I almost want to say set fire to the world, but in a good way. So maybe a more sort of social media set fire than an actual physical set fire. I do not want any planetary arsonists. That's me being selfish there. But I'm sure you would agree with me if you're not planning on being a planetary arsonist. I also feel that this Emperor at the very end, you need to break with the tradition of feeling this way. And you need to break with the tradition of trying to stay in power. Because I think if you try to exert, when I say in power, I mean more in authority. But if you are trying to dictate how things should be, rather than opening your eyes and noticing that great massive torch that God is sticking in front of your face, going, do you want to like this? Do you not want to like this? If you're trying to control things rather than just dealing with the pain and working it through, and I know this is easier said than done, but that's why it's slow progress with this Knight of Pentacles. This is a reading that, I mean, hey, with my schedule, who knows when I'm doing the Chinese Zodiac readings again. So, but this is a reading that has a certain amount, a long time. This could be the rest of the year. And bear in mind that the astrologers are saying that now we have got through the easy half of 2020. So, yeah, let that one sit for a moment. So, hexagram number 6 is just re-emphasizing this message. It is heaven above and water below. Heaven rises, water falls. Conflict at the beginning. A natural movement of heaven is upward. Water moves naturally down. When two forces pull in opposite directions, conflict is inevitable. Someone or something that may not be immediately obvious is pulling against you. Bear in mind that could be you. If you are sure that you are in the right, proceed cautiously. If you are in doubt, do not proceed at all. But there's another way of looking at that. Heaven is moving up, water is moving down. There is an opening space in between the two. And yeah, it does mean you're not getting to heaven just yet. Does that matter? Because there is a whole new field opening up for you to explore. But again, you do not want to get pulled down with the water. You don't want to get pulled down by these 5 cups. You need to transmute all this pain, work through all this pain, come to terms with all this pain. You know, it depends whether it's a pain that can be healed or like a more Chiron-based pain where it is the wound that will not heal, but you have to find the way to live with it, which is quite interesting. I'm more tempted because of what these cards are saying, especially with these at the bottom here, that it's less of a wound you have to live with and more of a wound that can be healed, which means you've got to put the work into the healing. Now, I've got a verse from the Tao Te Ching again. So, and I hadn't even looked at this. Verse number 78, the virtue of water, the water that is falling down. There is nothing under heaven softer and weaker than water, yet to attack the hard and strong, nothing can surpass it. Nothing can take its place. That is why the soft overcomes the hard, the weak surpasses the strong. Everyone knows this, yet no one is able to practice it. Therefore the sage says, he who can take upon himself the humiliation and insults inflicted upon the country is called the king of state. He who can take upon himself the bad luck suffered by the country is called the emperor of the land under heaven. Straightforward words often seem contrary. So yes, pay attention to that water. Let that water flow. Let that water flow away. Remember, that water here is strongly about the 5 of cups, because we have the 7 of the cups at the top. So going across the top line, which, because I realise I haven't talked about that, Chariot. Motion is called for once everything falls away. And that motion is called for. The main option has to be deal with all this pain and move past it. Because there are several options, as I've already discussed without even looking at that card. There are several options on how you can progress. But the option has, I would say, is be strategic to move to a new place and cut out what does not serve you. Now, if you have a wound, you cannot cut it out. That just makes the wound bigger. But you can cut it out of existence by healing it. I think I've lectured you enough. You've got that point already. But But the end of this is so beautiful. So it's not a dark night of the soul. And if you think it is, you're probably going to stay there. Because the world can throw far worse at you, believe you me. It's a baby night of the soul. It's an initiation. It's preparing, it's hard lessons preparing you for this wonderful new project, this wonderful new thing at the end. You have to pay attention to the water. The water will destroy, the water will damage. But the image with that, thinking about it, is very much, if you do not deal with this pain, whatever it is, that water will continue to erode the very foundation that you are stood upon. And the heaven and waters have parted for you to go through to a new land. Between the misery and the heaven. But time doesn't really exist in heaven. So there's plenty of time to get there. And that's something that I think is worth remembering, because this is your opportunity of soaring into joy. And you're not going to get to soar into joy if you're carrying all this deadweight pain. Well, that was cheerful, wasn't it, monkey? My apologies for that. But this process that is being offered to you, it is a gift. This really, really is a gift. It is a one thing that I did hear, I think it was Anastasia, Cosmic Astrologer, talk about this new moon, but it's very much been endemic in all the astrology of this year. This is a time to sort your own karma and get rid of those bits that no longer serve you, that are no longer necessary for you. And then go into, as I said for Goat, you are not going into one of the roles that, well, no, of course you are, but you are not going immediately into one of the roles that you had decided you was going to do before you come here. You are going into the preparation for stepping into one of those roles. But before you can go into that preparation and learn the good stuff, you need to unlearn the bad stuff. And that's what dealing with that pain is. I could cover reading that, couldn't I? Unlearn the bad stuff. I might do that, actually. So if this means anything to you, monkey, comment down below. Hopefully I'll have enough time today to do new moon readings for all the Western zodiacs. If not, it will be by element. We'll see how the time goes. But in the meantime, best of luck. This is not going to be an easy period, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be really, really worth it. Or you could let it destroy you. So, you know, your choice. Cheers.